So what most people think is the issue of modern fighting games is it's not incorrect, but it's also kind of some bullshit. So most people are like, the combos are easier, but as we all know, combo monsters are OD, and they keep on making OD combos. It's never combos, right? There's like, they're making the game easier, and they're making them easier, right? They're making them too accessible. The combos are too easy, bro. In fucking Grand Blue, your combo is button to fireball. That's just too easy. There's no sauce in Grand Blue. No. If that's how you feel, it's okay. But one, there's nothing wrong with the games being more accessible. We need more people to play these games, because like Arxis, they're gonna keep on following this plan, bro. I think this is kind of a read, but like after a game like Dragon Ball, for sure they're gonna make more anime fighting games like this. They're gonna make more blah blah fighters, like for sure. This is easy money, right? So the difficulty of fighting games turns people off, and when I say like baseline, like execution and stuff like that, so they're gonna make stuff easier between like how you literally input things. Like take Dragon Ball, everything in Dragon Ball is quarter circle basically, and like down, right? There's not that many different motions you can have, as opposed to old games having like half circles, DP inputs, reverse DPs, all this bullshit, right? Or less buttons, right? So Street Fighter is like a 6-button game. Dragon Ball is a 4-button game technically with 2 assists, right? This is not actually like, while this makes the games, it makes it easier to get into it, but it doesn't make the game easier, right? The actual things that make the games easier are things like increasing the risk return is one. Why? Higher level players are going to understand risk versus reward, and they're going to make their choices off that. They're going to try to pick not risky things. So how do you balance the risk reward? Think about Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball risk reward is out of fucking control. Everything has mad reward. This is how you balance it. So that means when the motherfucker does whiff button, land button, and they get the hit, they do fucking 50% to you instead of doing like button fireball and they do no damage. It's very, very meaningful. Another thing they like to do is make it so that you can combo off everything. You see this, the best example of this besides Dragon Ball is fucking Guilty Gear, because almost every new exit character can get full combos off all hits. When they nerfed the Bedman, one of the big Bedman nerfs is they made it so he couldn't combo off all his hits. Alpha combos off all her hits. Raven combos off almost all her hits. All these characters all combo off almost all their fucking hits or all their hits. Once you can combo off all your hits, like full, when I say combo, like think about like a Dragon Ball combo. 2M, 5M, launch, button, double jump, button, knockdown, right? Once that happens, so when you get a hit, you automatically know what to do. As opposed to like, let's say a Street Fighter and it's Ryu versus Ken, right? And Ryu hits you with the stanky leg, the crouch MK. What can you do? You can't get a combo. The only combo you get is a fireball. It doesn't knock down. Until you reach a certain level, and you have to get pretty deep in the game, and some people play games for years, like Xbox 360 Want War, but my boy is Ascended, and he subscribed to Prime. Thank you so much. I'm sure Xbox 360 Wants War does not have this issue, but some people play fighting games for 10 plus years, and they don't realize this. Like, that situation is a specific option set that you can build. And there are many options, right? Like let's say I'm gonna make up a number. There's like 10 options after that simple button into fireball. As opposed to if button to fireball knockdown, there's one option. So you're gonna dash up and do your Oki, whatever it is, your knockdown setup, whatever it is. This makes it much easier for new players to build a game plan, because if your hit leads into a combo, you're just gonna do that. If your hit doesn't lead in the combo, you're gonna do stuff. You're gonna do what you feel is correct. You may not realize ever that you can build out that option set reliably. And that will literally gatekeep you, because someone who does understand this will pick their choices based off that. They're always gonna pick the safest choice. The other person's gonna do something, whatever they feel is in their heart. And that's it. And then you're gonna lose the situation, or the situation is gonna reset, as opposed to having the clear path of combo into knockdown. Now, this thing I said about not being able to combo off all your hits is also why some people like old games, because that actually lends to the romanticism of fighting games. Like, you're doing what you feel is correct. One thing about modern games having this constant hit into full combo into box situation all the time, even when the game makes it hard for you, like Dragon Ball. In these situations, no one really tells you what to do. no one really tells you what to do. So you just have to kind of do what you feel is correct based on what you feel at the moment and the character you play and the character you're playing against. That is what people want from fighting games. You know, that's what people really, really want. They want to be like, it's the mind game, it's the mental chess, it's that shit, right? All like the vague shit people like to say about fighting games. That's what they want. A lot of old games have that because simply because, and I don't even think there's no way the devs were thinking this. They just have it like that. Simply because you just can't get combos all the time. This leads me to another major issue with modern fighting. This is probably the biggest issue with modern fighting games personally. In my opinion, the biggest issue I have in modern fighting games is that I think the way developers make the games are extremely heavy-handed, and it doesn't allow for organic interactions. The developers are basically like, once you start researching it, or like not even researching, research is the wrong word. Like once you start understanding what the characters do at a basic level, you can see that the developers want you to do these things, right? This thing sounds kind of weird, but just let me explain a little bit. So, for instance, one thing, despite like a bunch of my pet peeves about Guilty Gear, one thing that's really, really good about Guilty Gear is that the interactions are very organic. Characters just have like their shit, right? They have whatever thing. Like Milia has, she has pin, she's fast, got 2 air dashes, got a jump, got a couple of big pokes. Jam has a kick that goes over lows, and then she has a slide that loses to lows, but like will go through shit. The way the characters play around each other's tools are from the player's perspective. In a game like Dragon Ball or like Granblue, the developers kind of force the way the interactions go much, much, much harder. We straight up call these forced interactions, right? For instance, this is extremely common in Dragon Ball, and I use this example over and over and over and over. The opponent is falling on you, you're standing and waiting for them. You're standing and waiting for them, but outside of all the options they have, you also have to look for system mechanic too. So Super Dash and Vanish. So this makes it so that even characters who don't have ways to alter their momentum, so I guess like Kid Buu. Kid Buu has like, the wheel, EX wheel. He's got the falling JS as well. He has JM, so he can move horizontally. And he has Super Dash and he has Vanish. But for instance, like GT Goku does not have a falling Ki Blast, right? He does have a down move to like a dive, let's say, to change his momentum, the EX orb. But he does not have a Ki Blast. But he still has Super Dash at least. Or he can try to delay Vanish, or he can just fall. So the situation changes because of developer, like the way the developers made the game. They force this guessing game at all times, as opposed to just because this character has this tools that we gave them and this character has this tool that we gave them and you're in a situation, that's just how it is. The developer creates a situation. Granblue is also very guilty of this. The developers put situations that you have to deal with. It's not so much about like the character, like there's always gonna be like the character versus character, but it's also like the developer, like, we want you to do this, not this, a lot. Granblue has this in the block button and also how the throw tech system works. If you don't know about Granblue, the block button makes it so there's no cross-ups. There's no cross-ups at all. If you block with the block button, you have to choose to do it, but most people, there's spots where they're like, okay, I'll block with the block button here. So it also makes it immediately with just that one mechanic, knockdown pressure automatically is not about left, right, mid screen. It's mostly so that there's no like vortex mid screen at all. Vortex, Okuzeme loop, whatever. And there's no characters really with like high-low 50-50s. So immediately the devs are like, we don't want this to be like some Street Fighter shit where there's a character who has like knockdown left, right, blah, blah, blah. No. This game is about the poke throw game in general. At least in Season 1, there were only a couple characters who won with 50-50 high-lows. Besides that, it's all poke throw. Forcibly, by design. And then if you have like a normal throw and not a command grab, then the way that interaction works is also very, very by design. You can tell the devs are like, we want this to be like this. I think this is probably the worst thing about modern fighting games, is that you have to play this way. Instead of like the weaker player learning through experience and like studying to get better and like improving over time, they use system mechanics to try to build up people, which I think actually keeps people down overall. Personally, I really dislike it. One thing that's actually pretty good about Dragon Ball is that, like, you know, we have actually discovered a lot of stuff in the system. They take it out, of course, because they don't want the game to have these things. I feel like with like patching and stuff like that, it punishes people who study the game, and try to solve the games. They very much want the games to be more about guessing and reads overall. And then they want the game to be about guessing and reads more overall. And sometimes whatever, like, you know, sometimes like neutral, like Granblue is a heavy neutral game. Because of that, I feel like it makes it so that there's only a couple of valid playstyles you can play, and like that's it. You know what I mean? For instance, like real talk, if I win the US East, they're nerfing Gotenks, like 100%. They're gonna nerf Gotenks. They really don't want you to win that way. You can tell because they took out Snap, they took out the level 3s, they took out the hard knock. There's so much shit they took out. Any time you know this, like the current ways that most of the recent games that come out they really don't like Okazeme style. They don't like that. They want you to win with neutral. They want you to win by reading, or they want you to win by doing the thing that they say the character's supposed to do, not the thing that you find. I'm totally willing to agree that, like, you know, that shit is bullshit, right? Like that type of style is bullshit. But I don't feel like it's bad to have that and then have that character have weaknesses as well. You know what I mean? Like, usually, like, Milia is a really good example because she always has weak, like, you know, she has really shitty meter gain. She has a weak guard meter, as in it's really easy to build up her guard meter. She has the second lowest life. She has all these fucking downsides for the strong upside of that. She has a really hard, like, strong win condition once she accesses it. A lot of the more recent games, they're not necessarily games where you learn the game so you're good at it. They're more like you are good at making choices quickly, so you're good at it, you know. That's definitely Dragon Ball. Granblue's in the middle, I think. Granblue's in the middle. Street Fighter, I don't know because I don't play it. Dragon Ball is 100% like you're good at making choices quickly, so you're good at the game. Because at this point, and the one way you can see really that the devs are really heavy-handed and they want the game to be played a certain way, it's what Red said. Everything is homogenous. Think about Dragon Ball. Everything is homogenous. Smash is kind of the same too. Like Smash is the same. At a glance, the baseline of Strive that we've played is same-ish too, where like a lot of things in the game are the same. On the one hand, it helps people get in because there's just less shit you gotta memorize. So, like, for instance, if you came into Guilty Gear, I mean Ultimate Smash, not Melee. Melee, there's like all this fucking shit you gotta learn when you learn the game. But like in GG, the easy thing, and some people are happy about this, some people are unhappy about this. I'm in between. Wake up speeds and Strive are all the same. In all the Guilty Gear XX and Xrd, the wake up speeds of character face up and face down are different speeds. So you have to learn them and then make setups and adjust for these things. You have to do that. You must do that. If you do not do that, then you're just weaker. But in Strive, everyone has the same knockdown. In Dragon Ball, a lot of shit is homogenous too. Everyone moves at the same speed. There's only a couple of characters with the only characters with different jumps, to my knowledge, are Majin Buu and Roshi. Super Dash works the same for everyone. Vanish works the same for everyone. DP is mostly the same. Frame data is built in a way that, like, once you understand what this number means, then you can apply it across the cast immediately because everyone has very similar frame data. The same knockdown doesn't bother me that much because Guilty Gear characters usually play entirely different games of their own. I look at it both sides, right? So on the one hand, it's nice because it just makes it easier for people to get into the game. But on the other hand, it actually does remove a layer of strategy. So for example, this, right? You're a Melia player. You're playing as a Soul player. Soul has an extremely quick face down knockdown, and Milia's sweep is good against Soul, right? So when you do sweep and you try to do your setup, you know, you and the Soul player both know that you can't necessarily get a good setup, and Soul has really good defensive options. So you both know you're playing an immediate guessing game that's kind of in Soul's favor more than Milia's favor. My return is high if I'm right, but I have to take a big risk. Soul can take relatively low risks and like get out of the situation. As opposed to if you sweep Bedman, he has an extremely slow face down. He has like the slowest face down knockdown, if I recall correctly, right? So you always get a good setup when you sweep him, just raw sweep him. You always get a guaranteed meaty bad moon, which means you get a good 50-50. So when you sweep a Benman player, you're like, oh shit, okay, I get a better setup. I can fucking go ham. Like you can adjust your strategy and build your strategy deeper for each character, and you could take advantage of the small differences between the characters, or adjust for like the things that they're good at against you. When it's homogenous, so if everyone had the same face down knockdown and it was like in between Souls, who's very quick, and Bedmans, who's very fast, you would just like, it would just be the same thing, just sweep, dash, disc, and you just do the same thing to everybody. For some people, they think this is fine because it gets people in easier. For me, I like that extra like it rewards you for knowing. Two, I like how it just adjusts the game per character, and it makes every character feel more like everything about the character, every tick, right? Life totals, defense, guard meter, how much meter they build, the speed that they get up, how heavy they are when they hit you. Like everything is different because Venom is not the same as Potemkin, right? Venom is a skinny black dude who's like 6'1" and he weighs 120 pounds. He's a stick. Potemkin is fucking 7 feet tall and he's 300 pounds. They're different people. But in Dragon Ball, fucking Broly moves at the same speed as GT Goku, even though Broly is 8 feet tall and fucking GT Goku is like 4'11". They fucking move at the same speed. They move in the air at the same speed. The Super Dash is the same for everybody. But on the one hand, it is good because you can just go from character to character really easily, and you see it a lot in Dragon Ball 2 that people are able to learn characters pretty quickly, but at the same time, I don't know, it takes away, in my opinion, it takes away from it a little bit. The characters do play differently, but these little things reward you for like learning the game, you know what I mean? Like really, really becoming a student of the game. But it just depends on how you feel, like what's better. From a dev perspective, I feel like they definitely want it so that you don't necessarily have to know everything about, not even everything, you don't have to be like knowledgeable about the game to be good at the game. I think that's like just the direction, this what we have right now, this SF5, Dragon Ball, Guilty Gear Strive, that's just where we're going. That's just where we're going.